This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not meeting Mrs. Jones in that cafe for a chat and nothing else, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children, youth, and families of the Seattle-King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth through services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African-American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Ave Radio. Hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Hey. Oh, I heard something. Hey, this is Tracy. Can you hear me? There's a little snapple and a crack. Larry, I just heard myself. Yay, it's official. Yes.
Okay. What's up? What's up, Tracy?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Y'all, I am in studio for the first time. I'm here with Mr. Larry.
Yeah.
What's the name of your show again, Larry?
It's Men's Mental Health.
Men's Mental Health. I am Dr. Traci Harrell, and my show is called Better Together and Living Powerfully. And so with Larry here, this is just a demonstration that it's so much better when we do this together. Larry.
Yes. Yes, that's true. That's true.
We've talked about doing this. We've explored Let me see. I don't hear my voice anymore.
Testing. Okay. There we go.
I hear yours.
Yes, I hear you. What?
You hear me? Because I'm sitting.
I think so. No.
Yeah, I think you hear me because I'm sitting next to you. I don't hear myself.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
No?
Yeah, I hear you.
Daniel.
I think we're working on it.
I'm like, Daniel.
I think I hear you.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
But you didn't hear me before.
No worries. We're all good.
Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, y'all. This is called live radio. And thank you so much to Rainier Avenue Radio. I see a little bit of delay between my mouth and the words. Is that normal too? Apparently, yes. Okay, y'all, we about to do the thing. So here's what's happening today. We just experienced Larry with men's mental health, talking very vulnerably about an experience that he had with his own father. And what I love about that is just he just demonstrated that's a real serious delay. He said, go with it, sister. Wow. So let's take a quick commercial break. I'm going to switch with Larry. I'm not going to do this for the entire show. So take a quick commercial break and we'll come right back, y'all. Hold on. Thanks.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not meeting Mrs. Jones in that cafe for a chat and nothing else, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children, youth, and families of the Seattle King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth through services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Check us out on social media. Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Ave Radio.
There's still a delay, but we're going to go with it. I am here with the host of the show that comes on right before mine, Larry Mabry. Larry. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. So what you were just talking about, the reason I thought this was so cool is because when I first learned that you were going to be talking about mental health, I thought, how cool is that? It looked like a giant. We're going to adjust your camera.
We're
just going to angle it down. I think, yeah.
Okay. There you go.
There you go.
Two giants.
Two giants.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's fair.
You like that?
That's
Yeah,
fair.
we're live. This is what you do when you live. You just go with the flow. Now, what we have in store for you today is a very special conversation. Impromptu. I like to say, let's hope the mic works today. We're going to. Of course, you hear me. I'm sitting right next to you. Oh, I hear it now. I hear it. We're back.
Okay, cool.
We're back. Okay. So apparently the internet here is not much better than the one at my house. No. Okay. So we're going to keep going. So what you're going to have today is two individuals that are absolutely focused on you and your mental health. We're focused on how do we help you to live your best life. Does that make sense? How do we help you to move from? So your topic today was around anger.
Yeah.
So he talked about anger, and he talked about this concept of what happens when you're feeling angry and you express yourself in ways that really are not ideal. What I love about this is perfectly aligned with the work that we're leading, and it's called the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully Experience. What Larry was a serious experience that he had with his own father. Literally a life and death experience that he had with his father, where
it was a literal situation.
Literally life or death.
Yeah.
And what I love about that is you were able to process your emotions in the moment.
Yes.
Make a rational decision.
Yes.
And feel comfortable with that decision, knowing
yes
that it was the right thing as you move forward.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now, that's called living powerfully, people. Just to be clear, my show it's called the Living Powerfully Experience. And the way we do that is we show up, we decide that no matter what happens, we call this the sage perspective. No matter what happens, the sage perspective says that every situation can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. A gift or an opportunity. So I'm just going to ask you, what would you say was the gift that came out of the experience you had, the life and death experience that you had with your father, where you had to choose his life or amputating his leg? I mean, that's huge. What was the gift?
Yeah, I would say the biggest gift is actually two parts. The one gift I would say is the healing aspect, because before that choice, there were some things that I was struggling with him emotionally that I had to kind of come to terms with. So I would say processing that emotion was the biggest gift. And the second gift, I think I would say, is the relationship with he and I. We have a better relationship now, as opposed to him not being here. He's here. I can communicate with him. We have a more loving relationship, more authentic relationship. And I just let go of those painful things I was going through from the past. So I would say that'd be the biggest gift for me.
I love that. And individuals who have been staying with me since the beginning of this journey. The Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully experience, it is about you being able to show up and identify in the moment the gifts.
Yeah, because I was definitely an in the moment situation.
You didn't have a lot of time.
No. For those individuals who don't know, I should probably kind of let you know the story. So basically, this happened 2020, like right before COVID, like right in the heat of COVID. And my dad basically was termed with, he had gangrene in his leg. He had diabetes, he had gangrene in his leg. And they were talking about basically amputating his leg. And they called me because I'm his oldest kin. And they shared with me that basically I could not go visit him because COVID, everything was shut down, couldn't visit, but I had to make the choice, and they gave me an hour to do it. And I'm like, really? And so, but the doctor explained to me basically if I don't cut off his leg, that he'll basically die. But if we cut off his leg, he won't have a leg, but he'll live. And as Dr. Traci said earlier, I basically was struggling emotionally to make that choice. And so I ended up calling my mom to process that a little bit. And she basically gave me another perspective and said, hey, it's real simple. It's either you cut his leg and he lives, or you don't, he dies. So it's real simple. My mom has a very interesting sense of humor, but when she put it to me like that, once I kind of processed the emotions, I thought about it. I said, okay, call the doctor, and made the choice. And ironically, when I made that choice, my dad called me because he was sedated and everything through the operation. He called me like the next day or so. He was very upset, right? So I was like, wow. In the back of my mind, like, man, did I make the right choice? But then later on, I would say a couple months down the road, he basically said, you know what, son, that was the best choice you made. And so I felt like, to kind of answer your question, kind of going full circle for the healing aspect, as well as, you know, men in the family situation and not taking the pain and causing pain to somebody else. I think that would be the biggest takeaways from that situation.
I love that so much. Now, we base the Living Powerfully experience, which is everything you need to have your maximum performance, have your best, most authentic relationships, for you to actually have well-being, improved physical health, mental health, spiritual health. It's about PQ. We call it positive intelligence. It's your positive intelligence quotient. And it really does start with three things, right? We talked about this in the past, but it's identifying those saboteurs, those negative voices in your head, identifying them and then minimizing them. We talk about intercepting the saboteurs. The other thing is really amplifying the SAGE superpowers. So even if you never took my little free quiz, again, if you go to positiveintelligence.com, halfway down the page, there's something that's called Discover Your Saboteurs. It's literally a 5-minute assessment. So powerful. So powerful. You will identify those things based on your childhood, based on how you've lived your life. What are those things that typically, oftentimes they're your strengths, but they're your strengths that are overdone. And when they're overdone, they actually sabotage you. They're the things where your mind is working against you as opposed to for you. So we minimize the saboteurs, but we also amplify the SAGE. And so I've said this before in prior shows, but I want to demonstrate again with this real life example that the SAGE perspective, before you even talk about your SAGE superpowers, and there's 5 of them, we simply talk about believing one thing. Believing that the SAGE perspective is that when you can believe that every situation, even the worst, even a life and death situation, can absolutely be turned into a gift or an opportunity, that's called the SAGE perspective. It means you are literally in your thrival side of your brain, which is the right side of your brain, and not the survival side of your brain, which is the left side of your brain. This is all scientifically proven. It's based on the neuroscience of the brain. It's based on positive psychology, cognitive behavioral psychology, and performance science. So it's the factor analysis that says in order to truly have your highest performance, your best self, feeling your best with your own personal well-being, as well as relationships with other people, it's 3 things: minimize the saboteurs, increase the SAGE, and then the step that allows you to make a good decision is called self-management. But you got to do those two things, and they're almost simultaneous. It's like you think about it at first because you're practicing what we call mental fitness. And as you think about it, as you do the work, again, it's all very scientific. It's all very easy, free tests, free assessments. It's beautiful. But when you decide, number one, that everything is a gift or an opportunity, then you get to use 5 superpowers to decide, well, how am I going to figure out what the gift is, right? You're going to first have empathy with yourself. So if we talk to you about step 1 in the 5-stage powers was empathy. So you had to empathize with yourself, but it sounds like you also reached out to your mom because she gave you some immediate empathy. Baby, I understand this is problematic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
in that
talk about
situation, for sure.
empathy. Talk about the step 1 in our process in positive intelligence. The superpower in SAGE is empathy, empathizing with yourself, empathizing with others, and empathizing with the situation.
Yeah. So in that situation, I definitely empathize with myself because I would say that when you're coming at a situation where you're not, I would say, balanced, because I knew that there was some upheaval between me and my dad. So I wasn't going to come at it from the right perspective because I had some conflict with him, basically.
Right.
And so I had to basically relax myself and be okay with myself, but also have empathy for my dad too, because I didn't want him to die. No matter what I was going through, I still wanted him alive. And so from that perspective, I knew that, okay, yes, I wanted him to have his leg because I always remember my dad as like Superman to me. So I wanted him to have both legs. I don't want him to have one leg. But when you're given that situation, like, hey, it's one leg or death. I mean, it's one of those situations where you have to grapple with. But I had to basically empathize with them myself and empathize my dad's situation. And I also felt like it was almost like a changing of the guard, if you will. Like for those individuals, if you ever seen The Lion King, how you have Simba and they hold him up, you know?
Do the song.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It was like that situation where it's like because it basically it communicated that, okay, you're transitioning from boy to man because you have to make an emotional yet rational choice on your dad's life, right? But you're right, I had to empathize with myself, I had to empathize with my dad and the family, right? To do what's best for the family. And I think when you come from empathy, everybody in this equation is going to win because it's not a competition type of situation. Totally. It's a loving space. And so I feel like it creates a win-win situation, if that makes sense.
100%. So the reason I'm so confident in the work that I do and the reason I'm so proud of being able to bring this into community for free. Can we switch cameras? It looks like one is really, really, yeah, let's try that. I'm trying to remove this one. Let's just try that for a minute, Daniel. So what I love about this is you get to show up in your full glory as a man.
Yep.
That was making a decision for your father.
Yep.
And you saw that as a transition where you got to basically live your leap into your manhood.
Yes. Because to me, it communicated that, okay, you can't be at that same place, right? You have to kind of man up, but man up in the sense that you kind of take care of yourself emotionally, but by doing that, you kind of take care of your dad in that situation. And so after that happened, actually we got closer, but I would say that a lot of the boy stuff I had to let go because I realized that, you know, when you go through that and you overcome that, you know, certain things just aren't valuable to you. It's like that's not an issue because it's like if you can handle that, then you can handle anything, basically.
See, you know what I love about this? I was actually going to go a different place, but I love that you said that. So you just said you faced a life and death situation, and it created an opportunity for you to decide that certain things are important and certain things, like don't sweat the small stuff. At this point, you like I had a stroke on Christmas Day last year. So a stroke. Like I was literally paralyzed from the waist down at one point.
Wow.
I was having all day little things were happening and I didn't recognize it as a stroke and strokes, plural.
Okay.
I didn't recognize. But by the time I went paralyzed, it was clearly a problem.
Right.
It was so interesting. You're confused, right?
Yeah.
I literally dropped in my room. I'm, screaming for help at that point because it was like, okay, this is problematic. Someone actually laid me down on the bed, and then because it was a blood clot, the blood clot moved, and so I got used to my legs back like within minutes.
Okay.
So that was a blessing. But again, I had already been having strokes and probably kept having some that night.
Okay.
And I still, because the symptoms went away.
Gotcha.
The symptom went away, so I'm kind of like, okay, what was that? And I'm thinking, could it have been A? Could it have been B? Like I'm literally now online searching on WebMD, like what in the heck could
What's
that
going
be?
on? Right.
Nobody says that could be a stroke.
Right. Right.
Listen, people, let this be my PSA. If anything neurologically happens, where anything feels off, with this arm that you raise, and you know how it normally feels, if it doesn't feel the same way when you're trying to lift it, it's heavier, it's tinglier, right? It's going up faster. Well, any of those things, your leg is feeling a little heavier. That was happening throughout the day, and like sleep and then going away. If any of those things are happening, 911. Now, what I can tell you is, I realized I fell asleep searching on WebMD Christmas Day.
Oh, wow. Merry Christmas, huh?
Merry Christmas. And I woke up the next day.
Rebirth.
You better tell the truth. Can I get a high five?
High five on that.
High five.
Rebirth on that.
I was like, look, he didn't take me because clearly this is not my life. This is not how this is supposed to work. I did go to the emergency room that day, the day after. I didn't dial 911 because, again, I didn't have the same symptoms.
Right.
But I'm like, that is clearly not how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
So I made it to that, and they were like, ma'am, do you realize it is very possible that you could have not made it through last night?
Right.
Why didn't you come? I was like, I was confused.
Yeah, you didn't know.
The symptoms went away.
Right. You thought you were okay.
I'm just like, what? I was confused. And again, clearly I was confused because I've been having strokes throughout the day, and I was losing.
Wow.
I was losing some, some gray matter.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say I am now a different person. I was already pretty active. I was already focused on my community. But when I say I'm showing up here live for you, gifting you what I know will change your life forever. That's why I'm doing it. I'm getting paid $0. Did I mention goose egg? And we got a grant. We, the National Black MBA Association, we got a grant through King County called part of the Racism and the Public Health Crisis Grant. And the program that we're bringing forward is this mindset, this performance enhancement, this well-being, this improving trauma. It's all the things. It's all the things that we need. And it is guaranteed to work if you work it. So I said, if this Christmas happens to be my last day, please play this recording and say Traci said she was going to show up with intention. He laughing. I'm serious.
No, I'm glad that everything worked out. But ironically, I mean, for those individuals that are spiritual, I would say that that's typically how it works. Like certain situations happen in your life that jettison you into a different direction. So I'm glad that you've come to that place.
And I wouldn't even say it's a different direction at all, because I was already doing the work. I was already doing the Better Together environment series. Right. But I guarantee it took there was no break being applied to anything. There was no question as to whether should it be now or should it be later. Let me be clear. I don't know what later holds, but I do know I'm going to help as many people as I possibly can through Rainier Avenue Radio, through my own business, through any avenue and every avenue that I can. I am going to change lives. That I know. That I know. That's cool. So when you said to me, hey, we should probably try to partner someday, today is the day, dude. You're like, well, maybe we should figure out what Daniel be fine. He'll figure it out. This is a live show. We're here. So we're doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you like that?
That's true.
You're like, well, nope, we're doing it today. Right? You see my why?
No, I see. I understand.
Now let's talk a little bit also about one of the things I love that you talked about the ways, the methods. You were giving people not only this anger iceberg, and you know what I love about that analogy? You guys understand that an iceberg is huge.
Yes.
If he gave you the tonnage, the mass of the iceberg that is underground, that you can't see.
Yeah.
Underground, undersea, under the water.
Underwater, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't see. So
you can't see it.
Yeah.
So he used this term anger iceberg. I don't know if you saw the beauty of the analogy. That iceberg, the part that is above the water, is that anger, that little spout of anger that you may express in a particular moment. But it doesn't mean you don't have a huge buildup of anger.
Yeah.
History.
Yep.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Below the surface.
Yeah.
Oh, are we looking at the time? Oh, we got to take a quick break. Okay, y'all, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the anger iceberg, some of the other little tips that he talked about. I need y'all to understand this man is the real deal. In case you missed it, stay tuned right here, y'all, on Rainier Avenue Radio. More to come.
No, you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio. .world.
You probably have questions about COVID vaccines. Here are some answers about how they're being made.
How are COVID vaccines being produced faster?
Usually, vaccine testing and production are separate steps. But because of the pandemic, vaccines are being developed on parallel tracks. So both steps are happening just at the same time.
How are the vaccines being tested?
Right now, several different COVID vaccines are in testing. Each go through multiple clinical trials with up to thousands of volunteers.
How do vaccines get approved?
Not all COVID vaccine versions will make it to the final stages of testing and approval. Produced vaccines that do not pass clinical trials will be destroyed. But for those that do pass, a team of medical experts will examine test results and possible side effects. If the vaccine is effective and safe, it gets approved and gets to you. Go to covidvaccinewa.org to learn more. A message from the state of Washington.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself.
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
Every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Women Empowerment Talk Radio, your roadmap to business success. Tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, providing resources and sharing motivational experiences from the everyday entrepreneur. Tune in Women Empowerment Talk Radio every Sunday, 3 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Hello, y'all. I could not be more excited right now. I'm here with two handsome gentlemen. Two. Let's see. We have in studio Tony B.
Hey, what's up?
Our station manager. Oh my God. The owner of this beautiful theater that we're in right now. Tony B, tell us a little bit about who you are and why was it so important that you create this Rainier Avenue Radio family that brings so much value into the community?
Well, I guess you just say, long story short, I did 20 years of major market radio. During that entire 20 years of major market radio, always a challenge. Get attention on our communities. And other than, hey, listen to our songs, you know, when we're playing the music. But and so this was an opportunity to let the community's voice be heard and amplified over the air. And
I love it.
That's really what it amounted to. And then the Columbia City Theater is 108 years old. It has been a part of the South Seattle community. It's been a burlesque theater. It's been an adult theater.
All the things.
It has been a movie theater. I remember it as the Rainier Cinema. Folks who remember Rainier Cinema will remember that this is really the only place in the state of Washington during the late 60s and early 70s where you could watch black and what we called kung fu movies.
Really?
And if you Googled Rainier Cinema, it wouldn't exist anymore. You wouldn't even know it was here.
Wow.
And so in the 80s, it was probably one of the, if not the hottest place for the DIY punk movement. Jimi Hendrix has played in this theater. Quincy Jones has performed in this theater. Ernestine Anderson, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins.
Wow.
Macklemore, Sir Mix-a-Lot, the history that this facility has had in our community, and tons of local artists as well. And now there's a radio station here.
Yes, we are right here live. So both Larry and I come in and we talk about mental health. We talk about wellness and well-being. Obviously, my show is called the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully Experience. It's so much better when we do this together. Are you loving it?
Oh,
you add someone else and it's like that synergy.
The energy is infectious.
Oh, Lord. I'm like, ooh, I love this so much. I got two Black Jesuses in here with me. I love it. Don't you love the facial hair, the natural locks? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come into the studio every week.
Mary,
every week.
You don't have to be here.
Every week. I am just loving it. And your voice. Tony B in the house. So Tony, we wanted to talk about an upcoming event that's happening. Not only do you do this radio, but there's a holiday event. Let's get that in here with us, Daniel. The vendor market. There's a winter, what do you call it?
I don't know what I called it, but it is a holiday festival.
Okay.
And there'll be vendors here. On the 9th, we will also be giving away food to the community. We don't have to see your ID. We won't ask any questions. Just come get you some food. And then also we're going to have a toy drive for Atlantic Street Center on that same day. Everything, you come on in, check out the vendors. There'll be a DJ. There'll be performances. We'll also have an aerial acrobat here on the 9th as well.
I heard there was going to be a Black Santa.
Yes, there is.
Multiple Black Santas, actually. Apparently, you can come to the theater
because you saw Black Santa when you came in. But we'll share that one with folks when they come. There'll be an aerial group here, and then on the 16th, there will be again the same thing, another vendor fair, but also a performance by MVP, which is Michael versus Prince. So they're an 8-piece group that does Michael Jackson and Prince songs.
Ooh, that's when? The 16th?
Yeah, that's the 16th.
What time?
It's all 11 to 8, or excuse me, 11 to 5 is when everything will be happening on the 9th and on the 16th. And then I guess I'll make the announcement now. We haven't even made the announcement yet.
Breaking news?
Asking me about it.
Daniel, do you got any sound effects? There's an announcement happening.
Every year. Every holiday season we have our Rainier Avenue Radio Holiday Party.
Uh-huh.
And that is going to be happening. Now, this is only for radio show hosts.
Oh.
Yeah, so it'll be happening during the market, but in the VIP rooms, we will be having our annual holiday party. And it will be catered, and all of the hosts are invited with their guests to show up and have an opportunity to meet each other, like you and Larry did.
That'd be beautiful.
And congregate and share things.
Some holiday nog.
Have some holiday. All that will be here. I would say
all of that. Yeah, I love it. Now, this is on both the 9th and the 16th.
I'm sorry.
On both the 9th and the 16th.
No, this is just on the 16th.
On the 16th.
Now, the vendor fair will still be going on
9th
in the
and the
theater
16th.
and the
I love
atrium, but we'll be in the VIP room, and then MVP will be performing at 4 o'clock. So that'll be part of our holiday festivity.
That'd be nice.
Well, so you'll get a message about that you didn't know. So the Rainier Avenue Radio Holiday party is the 16th from 3:30 to 5. And it's exclusively for Rainier Avenue Radio show hosts. But it is a benefit. So if you're interested in coming, if you're not a Rainier Avenue show host, it'll be $50.
Join us.
Provided, and support the radio station and programming like this.
Well, I was just going to say that. Let's talk about the support of shows like this, because the first time I saw Venmo on my show, my niece was like, "Are you doing?" She's like, "Is this shop TV?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "There were things going across." I was like, "Oh no, 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 no! What are you doing to me right now?" That was my first, I'm being honest. And so, but what people don't understand is like you are financing this content.
Yes.
Like we're donating our time, we're showing up for free, but we're not paying you to come here. That's huge.
That's
because I did a live radio and YouTube show for 3 years, and I paid every month, every week. Excuse me, every week.
Yeah.
Well, the important thing, like I mentioned, I did 20 years of major market radio. And the big deal was to make sure that the community understood that this was an opportunity. Our voices needed to be heard. And so that was really the reason why this radio station was started, is to make sure that we amplify the diverse voices of our community so that we could share our own messaging. And being on the air, it ain't rocket science, you know what I'm saying?
No.
And so it was, the things that were in place in major market radio were barriers for our voices. And so this was just an opportunity to make sure that our voices were heard in our community, along with our music, whatever that may be. And we broadcast in multiple different languages and celebrate the differences in our community, and have shows like your show and Larry's show on the air.
Thank you.
And so that's where the funding comes from. If you come, if you're going to come and pay the $50 to be part of the private party that will be going on here.
It's to help keep the lights on. We appreciate that.
And all that stuff. And it affords us the opportunity to do this and give our community the opportunity to put shows on the air for free.
I love it.
Appreciate
and so that little Venmo thing that's at the top, it's there on every show. We don't typically say anything about that, but when they donate to Rainier Avenue Radio, it's like PBS. It's the Black PBS, y'all. Nobody has a problem donating to PBS, but they have their telethons. And we're basically saying, if you want to keep this type of content coming to you, donate.
That's it.
Keep it
simple. And y'all can say it every show. I certainly
don't
mind. That's how we survive.
Yeah, nice.
We don't necessarily throw it in people's face all the time, but the reality of this is a community-funded radio station. That's what allows us to broadcast high school basketball games and football games and have folks on the air. So please donate to Venmo at Rainier Avenue Radio. And it does help us keep the lights on, and we have heat. And we ain't always had heat.
I love
it. Thank you for mentioning that, Traci.
I think thank you for everything you do. Now I know you said you don't like to talk about yourself, but since I got you here, anyway, it's not going to be about you. Okay. We're going to talk about the people.
Okay.
Because we know he and I were just talking about my stroke that I had on Christmas Day, and he said he had to make Christmas Day last year. So on my 1 year anniversary is in 21 days. So pray for me, y'all. And he was talking about a life and death experience that he had with his father. And so when people have those life and death experiences, it changes who you are. It reshapes your narrative around what's important and how to show up. How to show up in life. And so Christmas time is a time when we give, gratitude, and we're thankful for all the things. And New Year's comes along and we're like, okay, I want to do some new things. Every day is a blessing.
Yes.
And I know you walk around like Black Jesus for real. Like you have a humble soul, giving heart, for real.
Oh, thank you.
So talk a little bit about why that's so important and why we should truly celebrate. How do you celebrate with gratitude every day, and why that's so important?
Everybody has their struggles, and I'm no different.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are dealt with a situation that is life-threatening,
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, I had a different perspective. Every day was important.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say that money is not the most important thing, I understand how important money is, especially if you're living kind of day to day and you have to survive. But beyond that, the opportunity to engage with folks, to talk with people, to meet new people, to be exposed to life is just absolutely incredible, because it is not guaranteed. There are some things that are out of our control.
Yes.
And whether it be an accident or whether your body just says, hey, I'm really tired right now. I don't know if I can keep going.
Facts.
Just making sure that you take license and ownership of the opportunity to be here every day and find joy and find happiness. And I'm just saying, this is from my perspective. For other people, it might be something different. But I get joy out of that, and it's invaluable. So
I love it. Well, thank you so much for talking about using some words. We only have 15 minutes left, less than 15 minutes. So you used the word joy, and being intentional is what we want to really kind of close out this next 10 minutes. Are you guys okay with that?
Well, I'm gonna go.
You gonna go?
I'm gonna go. I just want to.
So before you go, tell us about this concept of being intentional.
Mm-hmm. Oh, how can I say
in achieving your purpose in life? Not just intentionally showing up for simple stuff, but like intentionally showing up and living out the purpose by which you were put on this earth to do. You're not doing little things, you're doing big things. So say something to somebody before you leave about why they should be intentional about achieving their purpose. Put fear aside.
I call it being obedient to my journey.
Speak.
And sometimes your journey is difficult, or your journey seems like it may be difficult, but you feel compelled to do that thing. And there are other things to do and other things that may be easier, but your journey is calling you and saying, this is your purpose. And so following that purpose is something that I am really trying to be conscious of, rather than be embraced by all of the things that are surrounding me and say, do this, or you can be doing this, or you can do this, especially when your journey seems uncomfortable. But that journey is incredible.
Yes.
That journey is amazing, and just I'm comfortable with it, however it turns out.
He said, however it turns out. Y'all, that's the sage perspective. We say every situation can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. And you're like, whatever it's going to be all right. It's going to be for me.
I remember almost 40 years ago, I remember someone, and I didn't understand it at the time, telling me, she says, you have a rare ability. He said, when there are grapes on the vine and they go bad, you see raisins. And so I tried to remember that, and so that's why I say, whatever, just being obedient to your journey will manifest itself in ways that will be beneficial to you or beneficial to someone else, because you taking your journey and walking through those trees is going to make it easier for someone else to come behind you. And I certainly appreciate everyone that has cleared pathways for me to be able to do what I'm doing today, because I'm not the first. And I've seen other people do things and say, oh, I can do that too.
Yes. And you're clearing the pathway for others. So just thank you, Tony B. We appreciate
All right.
you.
Y'all have a good show.
Yes.
Thank you for indulging me here.
Thank you, Tony.
And but yeah, I want to hear what y'all have to say.
This is amazing. Thank you so much. We got 10 minutes left, y'all. So here's how we go. Here's how we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna be very, very intentional about what you can do going into the holidays, because this can really be a stressful time. Like we had Larry talking about anger. Oh, oh, he's so sweet. See, I told you I'm coming here every week. I don't know about y'all. I got 2 black Jesuses. I'm gonna be in here every week. You know, I don't like to drive. You know, I was hit by a drunk driver. That too, totaled my car. That too would be a gift or an opportunity. I haven't quite figured out what the gift is yet, but I'm showing up. Enjoy. Listen, being intentional, showing up for ourselves, deciding that, you know what, despite what can be difficult about the holidays, it can be difficult. We're going to choose to ensure that people are equipped to make this your best holiday season ever, your best Christmas season and going into the new year. So again, as we focus on emotional intelligence, as we focus on positive intelligence, we're basically saying you start with a different perspective. And what this handsome guy was able to share with you today is when those emotions show up, there's tools, there's things that you can decide to do. First of all, when you decide, you mentioned journaling as one of the things, right? You mentioned some other tips. Give us a quick lowdown, 30 seconds of what those tips are.
Yeah, so with the journaling, basically for those individuals who may not know, when you have a thought that you may want to address, talk about reframing that thought. So I'll give an example. So let's say that, you know, you're mulling over a situation, you're constantly thinking about it. You're like, okay, write it down and then maybe reframe it and kind of go to a lighter position. So rather than go through that, maybe you think, oh, I think this about myself, and maybe say, oh, you know what? Actually, other people can get this particular situation too, right? So you take a step back. So, you know what? I do know some people who've experienced some positive things from the situation. You know what? And think about maybe some other people that you experience that actually have the opposite of what you're trying to do. So journaling that, if you do that up over a period of time, what happens is you kind of rewire your brain to come up with solutions rather than just kind of go down the rabbit hole of just fear or issues or just kind of ruminating on negative type of cognitive distortions.
Yes, I love it. So what we call, again, the reason I love this, guys, because everything we talk about, like these are not things that we've made up. Just to be clear, right? We talk about the neuroscience of the brain. If you have a brain, it all works the same.
Yeah.
So when we say that there are tools, there are things that you can do that are based on science, that are scientifically proven to work if you work it. One of them is when you have a thought, you get to decide if that thought is serving you or sabotaging you.
Yep.
It's that simple. You know, I talk about the saboteur assessment. Again, go to positiveintelligence.com. Halfway down the page, you'll see something that says discover your saboteurs. It'll be nice to know who they are and what they are, right? That's just it. It's next level. But all you need to know is any negative emotion, any negative feeling, any negative thought is actually comes from a saboteur. So you can decide, nope, I'm not going to go there. Those are limiting beliefs. And so with the psychology of the brain, you get to decide the opposite of a limiting belief is typically what's true, right? Your body knows truth when it sees it and when it feels it. Your body knows. So when you say something like, man, that could never happen to me. Man, money's hard to come by. Guess what I say about money now?
What's that?
I'm a money magnet. Money is chasing me down. And when you say the words, people, hear me. When you say the words, when you're intentional about what you want, not what you think somebody told you, what somebody ever said, you're going to be just like your daddy. He ain't no good. You wasn't no good. He ain't going to be no good. Nobody was. No, mama. Nope. Whoever told you, it's not true. Yeah. Are you with me? So those negative voices, whether it's from somebody else, whether it's something you've just been telling yourself for so long, you don't even know the difference. All I can tell you, if it's negative, if it brings you anxiety, anger, any type of fear, anything that's uncomfortable, it is not true. Just tell yourself, nope, not true. I'm going to believe the opposite. How powerful is that? Just it's just that simple.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, I mean, it's important to recognize if you're feeling those feelings, right? To acknowledge them, but just not like allow them to flow through. Don't just hold them. Is the biggest thing, right?
I love
the biggest
that.
thing.
I love
That would be the biggest thing. So
I love it. So
I would just recommend that.
I love that. So the acknowledgement concept. This is what we say about negative feelings. I mean, if you've had them over and over and over, there's no need to keep holding your hand on a hot stove.
Right.
It's 1 second. Off.
Right.
So if you know that you have a pattern of saying stuff to yourself, of avoiding situations because you've decided, you know what, I can't do it. It's not for me. Stop. Just decide that is not true. You don't have to linger in those negative feelings. It's just not true. Do not make people, you do not have to spend more than a second in those negative feelings if they're just patterns of things you've said to yourself over and over that just aren't true. It's a pause and a pivot. Just saying, it's a pause and a pivot. Keep it moving. You get to decide, you get to be intentional about what really is true. Tell me real quick, Larry, if you had to decide on Christmas and you wanted to envision the best Christmas ever, because visioning is important.
Yes.
Right? We get to envision the best. Why is it so important for people to visualize what they want, to say what they want? We get to create the life of our dreams, people. So you get to say it. Oh, why is that the frozen look? Tell us a little bit about why it's so important to say what you want to have happen, to visualize what you want to have happen to create the life of your dreams.
Well, yeah, basically everything around us is, what we see. I mean, if you think about like technology, and we basically create our reality from who we are within ourselves. So if we have negative thought patterns that we're perpetuating out here, then we're going to create that reality. However, if we have positive, loving type of thought forms within ourselves and we prioritize that, we create that reality. So whatever you are on the inside is what you put out on the outside.
Do you understand? Y'all have to listen to Larry's show, because I'm going to break it down for you. It's something called the reticular activator in your brain, right? When he says you create the reality that you decide you want, what he means simply is you decide what success looks like. You get to decide. You get to say, you know what? Today, I'm a money magnet. Money's going to flow my way. Everyone loves me, and everything I say, it's going to fall on people's ears like rain on a dry desert, honey. Hello? I believe that to be true. I know when I show up, I'm going to change lives. No question. I don't question. There is no imposter syndrome up in here. None. Zero. So you also get to decide what success looks like. And the reticular activator, what he's saying is you will see whatever you believe is true. If you believe nothing ever works out for me, guess what? You're going to see nothing is going to work out for you. If you say everything always works out for me.
Yeah, it'll work out. The only thing I would add to that is sometimes we have hidden types of things, right? So it could be our subconscious. It could be things that, we kind of hid under the shelf or under the bed, so to speak. So, and that's, I think, sometimes how it can show up as an imposter.
Yes.
But I think it's important to make sure you handle those things.
For sure.
So as you handle those things, and I think everything that you desire to happen, it will happen.
Those are what we call the saboteurs.
Right.
Again, go to positiveintelligence.com. There's 10 saboteurs. The one saboteur that we all have is the judge. We judge ourselves, we judge others, and we judge situations. Then you have a whole series of other saboteurs that you can identify, whether it's a hyperachiever, which is mine, controller, which is mine, pleaser, which is one of mine, avoider, which is my fourth one. Those are my top 4. Right. And when you identify what they are, it's so beautiful. It's freeing. It's not like, oh my God, I have all these horrible things. No, it's freeing. You're like, oh my God, these are my saboteurs. So when I see them, I don't have to spend a lot of time in those emotions anymore. I know what they are. I read through the description. Yep, that's all of me. I've been doing it for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, however old you are. I see you. I choose not to allow the saboteurs to lead my life. Pivot. So don't let anybody tell you got to stay in those emotions. You do not. You identify those saboteurs and Hello. Now, is therapy important? Yes. I'm not saying don't have therapy. I have a therapist, just to be clear. But I also leverage positive intelligence every day. That's called mental fitness. I practice being very intentional. So, y'all, we got 1 minute left. And so what we're going to do is we're going to close with love. Because what we're doing right now is we're leading with love. We're saying that you will focus on self-love. You will get to focus on deciding what your desired outcome is. And we want you to say the words. Visualize the life of your dream. Say it and watch it come to pass. Say it and watch your own computer brain turn it into reality. What are you going to turn into reality, Larry?
I'm going to turn into reality, becoming more whole within myself with love.
Ooh, that's actually on my list too. So he and I are going to continue to bond. We may not do double shows every time, but we're going to continue to bond because this is what success looks like. It's the Better Together Empowerment Series. It's the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully Experience. We're both going to show up loving each other, and we're asking each of you to do the same. Not loving each other, but he's going to love himself up more. I'm going to love myself up more. And we're asking you to love yourself up, right? I'm going to love little Tracy and big Tracy too, okay? Y'all, stay tuned for the next show. And he's going to tell me what it is because I forgot. Oh, it's Lidline Sports, y'all, hosted by Pep and right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Stay tuned. And remember, you get to decide what success looks like. Go live your best life.
Bye.